Everybody and welcome to Taff's Word. This one is called the retained list, and so we're going to go through the Newport County players that we are retaining for next season so far, and talk about a couple of the rumours going around, a couple of players we haven't signed up, talk about the players who are leaving, all that sort of thing. So go with the players who are leaving so far. Obviously Tyler Forbes has been released, Andrew Crofts has been released, so has Will Randall, David Pipe and Fraser Franks are both retired, and those of you who've been living in the real world and been on social media will know that unfortunately Dan Butler is moving on to Peterborough, and we will not get a fee for him, although there is such a thing as a solidarity payment if he was to move abroad. Not likely, I know, because not many English players tend to move abroad, but if he went for 20 million to Barcelona or something like that one day, then, because basically the rule is if he's played for a club between whoever he's played for between the ages of 12 and 23, basically they'll be entitled to what they call training compensation, which is what the solidarity payments are. So he spent 3 seasons with us between the ages of 12 and 23, although he's 24 now. He didn't turn 24 until the season had already begun, so that will be another full season. So for every full season after the age of 15, you get 0.5% of a future transfer fee, and then if anything from 15 to 12 to back down to 12 is 0.25% of any future fee. So in effect, if he did move on to Barcelona or something like that for 20 million one day, then we get 1.5% of that 20 million, which I think works out to about 300k. Yeah, I think that's right, about right. Anyway, the 300k, there we go. That wouldn't be so bad, and that would be that for me would have been an acceptable transfer fee if he was under contract. But we've lost Dan Butler, but we signed 2 players up. So this is basically the squad that we got. Oh, let's not forget that technically we're losing Regan Poole, Tyreek Bakinson and Harry McCurdy because they were on loan. They're going back to their parent clubs. So the squad for next season. So we got Nick Townsend as our only goalkeeper so far. Mark O'Brien, Jay Fulston and Scott Bennett, if you want to call Scott a defender or defensive midfielder, anchor, or whatever. In midfield, Robbie Wilmot, Josh Sheehan, Keanu Marsh-Bryan, and up front we got Lewis Collins, Adi Aziz, Podrick Hammond, Jamil Matt, and Modou Toure. In limbo currently, we're still waiting to hear from Matt Dolan, Josh Labardi, Joe Day, and Mickey Demetriou. So hopefully all 4 of them will sign up with us for next season. If not, I mean, we want Joe Day to sign up. We want Mickey Demetriou to sign up. We want Labardi to sign up. If one of them had to miss out and move on, then the least upsetting would be Dolan. So, I mean, I don't want to be saying that I don't want Dolan at the club because I think he's a good player. I'd like all 4 of them to sign up, but if only one of them is gonna move on and 3 of them are going to sign up, I would have to say I'd want Demetriou, Day, and Labardi first. So, so Tyler Forbes has been released. Didn't do anything for me personally, and any players who are watching this, as you know, this ain't personal or anything like that. Andrew Crofts obviously was riddled by injury all season. I can't see how we could have offered him another contract, but was a lovely bloke. All the best to him. Will Randall never got to meet, and we never really got to see him play. So he's not going to be a loss to us. David Pipe, I think he's at the right age where retirement is a good call for him. Looking at a business venture, and of course Fraser Franks, very upsettingly, has had to retire due to medical reasons. Dan Butler will be a massive loss. A big signing for Peterborough, mind. He is going to be a fantastic player in League One for them, I'm certain of it. But Nick Townsend didn't do an awful lot for me last season, but he didn't do an awful lot at all last season. Joe Day, fair play, was fit for every game, except for the one. I think he stayed for his, because I think it was the Middlesbrough away game, wasn't it? Nick Townsend started. Should have done better with the goal on that one, but to judge Nick Townsend, we need to see a bit more of him. So I've got no problem with him, obviously, stopping with us. Mark O'Brien signed a new 2-year deal, which is great news. The captain, fantastic defender, has done great things for this club, and we're going to get to see him do more great things for the next 2 years, which is great. Jay Fulston's had a very good loan spell at Merthyr, So look forward to seeing what he brings to the first team next season. Scott Bennett, for me, was one of our better players last season. Got to give him a lot of credit. He was absolutely fantastic in every single match. He didn't have a single bad game for us. Now, some of our better performers had bad games. Scott Bennett is, Mr. Reliable, Mr. Consistent. Robbie Wilmot's still with us. Obviously had a great season again. Great in the cup again. I think he needs to be a bit more consistent next season because he did have the odd bad game here and there. Josh Sheehan has signed another 2-year deal, which is great news. And what a revival for him on this season. I mean, he had not the best of starts, but then fell out of the team and just couldn't get a game. Couldn't get a game for love nor money. And then all of a sudden he gets into that first team. He snatches his chance. And he was possibly one of our better players for the latter half of the season in the end. So fair play to him, and it's great news that he's staying for another 2 years. I really think the best is yet to come from him, and the next 2 years are really, really going to be telling on where he goes in football. Keanu Marsh-Brown has got another year on his contract. Again, didn't do an awful lot. Had a couple of injuries, didn't start the season well. Played well against Yeovil, but other than that, didn't do an awful lot for me. But, like I say, he is a good player. He's done really well with the likes of Forest Green in the past, so hopefully we'll see better from him next year. I think Matt Dolan was a massive improvement on last year, so next year could be the year Keanu Marsh-Brown makes his mark on Newport County. Lewis Collins and Modou Toure are obviously contracted with us, young players. I really hope both of them get given opportunities next season, especially Toure, who's had a really good loan spell at Barry. And I'm sure he was their top scorer and won their player of the year or something like that. Adi Aziz started really well with a debut goal, but for me didn't do an awful lot more. I think he had a couple of good games for us, but then at Wembley he didn't come on and do much. At Mansfield he didn't come on and do much. Obviously he came on and got taken back off again. I thought would have brought McCurdy on first, but he was tipped to be a really big player. Aziz, signed by Wimbledon, was on loan to Torquay and scored in his debut, in his first professional game against us, as it goes. I think there is some improvement to come from him. Hopefully we'll see better from him next season. Obviously Podge, he's contracted for next season. Whether he moves on for a fee or not is still to be seen. I hope he stays, of course. But then if someone comes in with 150 to 200k, we're not in a position to turn that down right now. So hopefully we'll get to keep him. But then if he does move on, hopefully it's for a decent amount of money. And then obviously that leaves us with Jamil Matt, who for me was one of the surprise players of the season. Considering his goal scoring record elsewhere, no one really expected him to score as many goals as he did this year, and he kept his form. He was consistent throughout the season. He didn't score goal after goal after goal, but he chipped in with goals, and they amounted to over 20 in the end, and it'll be his best goal scoring season. He's obviously had the right kind of service from players, so hopefully if we get someone at left back who's going to do the job that Dan Butler did and get that ball into the box onto his head, then he'll continue scoring goals for us. Hopefully the loss of Butler won't be a detriment to him and the service he gets into the box. So Regan Poole, we've obviously has gone back to Manchester United, but is set to be released. Personally, I think League 2 on a permanent deal would be a step too far down for him. Although I wouldn't rule anything out. He had such a good season with us. He may fancy coming back and being part of this team on a permanent basis. Tyreek Baconson has obviously signed a contract with Bristol City. I don't think we'll see him again next season on loan. Start the season great. I just don't know what happened to him in the end. He just couldn't recapture that form again. Harry McCurdy is out of contract, being released by Villa. I, for one, would certainly make him an offer. Whether he comes to us or not remains to be seen. But I certainly think Flynn fancies bringing him in on a permanent deal. As I said, Matt Dolan, a big improvement on the season before. The season before was very inconsistent, but showed signs of excellent quality. I think he didn't have a consistent season this season, but it was more consistent than the season before. I think with regards to getting stuck in and actually being part of the play rather than being relied on for set pieces. I think that's where Matt Dolan's come into it a little bit more. Josh Labardi, I was really happy when he re-signed with us. Really glad to see him again playing for us. Played a massive role in the end of the season for us. But I think what let him down in the end was the fact that he was still carrying, the effects of the injury. I don't think we got the best out of him. So now a pre-season under his belt, full pre-season, we certainly will see the best of him next season, hopefully. If he signs, of course, Dolan still got to sign. Labardi again, still got to sign. Another two players who still got to sign is Joe Day and Dimitriou. Firstly, Joe Day, best keeper in the league. Proved that by winning the, obviously being the goalkeeper in the EFL Team of the Year. And the fact that he got to a playoff final. And, he only conceded 2 goals in all of the playoffs. And you couldn't really blame him for any of them. I think Joe Day is a fantastic goalkeeper, a top bloke, and I really, really hope he stays. Again, Mickey Dimitriou. For me, he was possibly one of our more underappreciated players this season, along with Scott Bennett, for the job that he does. People see Dimitriou as a goal-scoring defender. Obviously, with the left foot he's got and the header that he's got, he should be scoring goals. But for me, last season, he did things right in the opposition's box, but was a tad inconsistent in ours. This season, he was more consistent in the defending side of things and the goal-scoring side of things. I mean, Jamil Matt and Podrick Ormond obviously took up the slack on that one, but for me, Dimitriou was a fantastic and solid defender for us. So hopefully he'll sign as well. So that's 4 players, and so the least... I want all 4 to sign, but the one who I'd feel the least disappointed in losing, if we had to lose one, would be Dolan, just because how important the other 3 could be for us next season. So as it stands, we don't have many defenders in our squad, so defenders are going to be the key talking point when people are going to be rumouring us with players. I mean, I heard a rumour today that Joe Day is wanted by Gillingham. Dimitriou could be moving on. Apparently his flat has been packed up, but apparently that's only to go away, and spend some time elsewhere during the summer. So we'll wait and see. Apparently Josh Labardi wants to sign a contract with us, so 11:30 a.m. tomorrow. Hopefully there'll be more player news. I'd like to think, if it was in order, I'd like to say Dimitriou to sign up first. That way we know we got our defence for next season. Well, not all of it, but you know what I mean. Joe Day, then Labardi, then Dolan. I'd rather that the club just come out tonight and tell us that they've all signed up for another 2 years each, but that's not going to happen, of course. But let's see. It doesn't look as though we really need anything up front, considering the forward players that we got. I mean, technically we got 5, so I don't think we need anything up front. I think what we want is that creative midfield. I don't think Kiana Marsh-Brown is going to be a permanent fixture in the first team next season, but I'd expect Sheehan to be. Wilmot will be right wing back, I'd imagine. I don't think Flynn's going to change the shape. He'll get a replacement for Butler, of course. What you want is a versatile full-back who can play either side. That way you've got a replacement there for either one of them. You want to get, if Dimitriou signs, you want to sign another centre-back or 2. Depends on how you're going to utilise Scott Bennett as a midfielder. Poole would be nice to have back. Ben White's out of contract as well and being released by Brighton. That would be another great one. But although I think their futures lie in League One or the Championship, and that is for both of them. So I think what I've always said in our midfield, we're going to need another couple of midfielders, but what we want is a Sammy Smodics type. We need a good, creative, goal-scoring midfielder. We need an engine in there that's going to run the show. That's going to complement Josh Sheehan and allow the likes of Labardi or Bennett or whatever to do their bit. If we get someone like we would be able to swap it round a little bit, have a bit of rotation in midfield as well, which is something we haven't really been able to do this season. Because whenever we've had a midfielder, right, we're stuck with who we got, and that's it. And we haven't had anything to change the midfield coming off the bench, really. So the next few days are going to be interesting. Flynn goes away on holiday apparently next week, so hopefully we'll start seeing new signings coming in. Yeah, you know, within the next 2 or 3 weeks. We can't leave it late though, because I think we left it late, and that's why we ended up with the likes of Forbes and Crofts in the end, because we left it a bit too late. I think we definitely need to utilise our friendships a little bit more as well. I think we've made a lot of new friendships with regards to clubs through the FA Cup and that. We need to utilise them, you know, your Tottenhams, your Leeds, who we've become friendly with, you know, and now your Leicesters and Middlesbroughs and whoever Tony Pulis ends up managing next season as well. Also Man City, Guardiola's such friends. Jurgen Klopp is friendly with Flynn as well. Got to utilise his friendships, you know, even tap into his friendships with Vieira and Henry and see if Arsenal will loan us any players. You never know. You don't know if you don't ask. Hopefully we've got some good friendlies lined up as well. That's the important thing. We haven't had any decent friendlies at Ronnie Parade for a long time. I think the best we've had is a full QPR team like 4 years ago, and that was it. You know, we need to get better over there. So let's see. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully there'll be more player news in the next couple of days. I'd like to think that we'll have everything with regards to the remaining 4 players to sign up. We'll know everything by the end of the weekend. So at least then we can start planning, and we can start letting any losses sink in. Like Dan Butler, that's going to take some getting over. That's a real loss for us. But wish him all the best at Peterborough. Cheers for the efforts you've given us over the last 3 years, Dan. And I hope that Peterborough is a success for you. Alright then, so thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time. Whenever I can be bothered to make another video. I'm kicking them out now, at least. You know, now we've got the bit of time. I got a bit of time off at the moment, so making the most of it. Thank you all. Cheers for now, and as always, up the county. Many thanks for watching the latest content on the Amber Army channel. Please make sure you leave us a like. Make sure you subscribe for more content, both for the neutral football fan and also plenty of Newport County. Even more Newport County content can be found on the club's iFollow channel on the link above. It is just £4.49 per month to subscribe to that service. And those of you feeling extra generous can also support us on Patreon on the link at the bottom there. That would be a monthly donation of your choice. Thank you again. Make sure you've subscribed, and as always, up the county.